Hi, folks, and welcome to the second Windows in the Cloud Ask Me Anything event, where you have the chance to ask questions live to the Windows 365 product engineering team, the folks that actually built the product. So I'm your host, Christian Brinkhoff, one of the feature PMs on the Windows 365 engineering team. And today I'm pleased to be joined by the team where I'm part of as well, the end user computing and end user experience team. So let's start with getting some questions in the chat below. So please do that right now, and we will introduce the team to you. So Alina, can you introduce yourself first?
Sure. Hi, my name is Alina, and I'm a feature PM on the Windows 365 team. I'm responsible for ensuring we capture feedback from our customers, and I also work on making sure that Windows 365 continues to be the best expressions of Microsoft 365 services.
Great. Pavitra, can you go next?
Hi, I'm Pavitra. I'm a PM with the Windows 365 team, and I am looking into Teams optimization on Windows 365 as well as end user experience using the browser client, web client for Windows 365.
Great. Sam, can you go next?
Sure. My name is Sam Hale. I'm a principal customer success account manager, but was given an exciting opportunity to, in a job rotational manner, to be part of the Windows 365 engineering team as a feature PM, driving feedback into our Windows 365 products.
Great. Doug, can you go next?
Absolutely. Doug Coons. I'm also a PM on the Windows 365 team. I look after BCDR and connectivity, making sure everyone can get a great experience when they try to connect to Windows 365.
Awesome. And last but not least, Sandeep, can you give a quick run over?
Hi, folks. I'm Sandeep, and I am fortunate to lead this amazing group of individuals and product managers who are responsible for building the Windows 365 product strategy and end user experiences.
Yeah, this is a very exciting group. As I say, normally end user computing and end user experience is very important because that sort of defines the experience that the end user has. And we are all responsible for that, delivering that in a way that end users are happy with that experience. And that's as well the topic of today. So any questions you have around what was just called out, BCDR, Teams optimizations, just generic end user computing on the protocol side, just put them in the chat, and we are here to answer them directly to you live over this virtual channel. So let's start with some questions to point out here. And let's start with like Teams and have some sort of an ongoing conversation on that, how we do that, how we think in how to improve and where we are today. So Pavitra, can you explain a little bit about like what's the roadmap or what's kind of the features that are shipping soon for Teams, and then people can point in questions that maybe are related to that specific topic and start from there.
Sure. So Teams has been a very hot topic, for the whole Windows 365 team. And we have been working on several features that customers have asked. One of them primarily being background blur, especially because of privacy and security that customers wanted. So keep an eye out on the roadmap. We do have the published, quarters or house where we will be, changing the status the minute it's live. But it should be something that you can look forward to having in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's great. And I know, of course, the work you have been doing together with the Sigma team. It's a different team in Microsoft that leads the streaming efforts of the protocol. But the ultimate goal here is to get parity with Teams on a physical machine, right?
That's right. So parity means many things. One is performance. The other one is going to be on the feature side. So we are slowly but surely trying to fix the gap on the feature side. And the performance parity, we just went through some performance testing, and we've done a lot of improvements, especially from last November till now, in such a way that we are almost at a performance parity with the native client. There are a couple of very high priority features that we need to, that we are currently working on, that will get us to an almost parity from the performance side. But if you have been with our, with us from, last October or maybe last September onwards, you can see the journey where we have slowly, improved our performance, and it's a lot more performant now than it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I, for the team's sake of teams, I wear my shirt here. You're on mute. I thought it was a good occasion to to wear that as well. So there are some exciting announcements coming, and people need to just pay attention to the roadmap, right? Like
That's right.
the public.
So we will be having, anytime we have, a new feature released, we are going to be publishing this as a blog first. We will be having, documentation updated if need be, if there is anything very specific that we want you to, either install or update. And we will be updating the roadmap. So keep an eye out on our, Windows 365 blog post as well as the roadmap, and then you will be able to get more information. We are also trying to see if we can contact the customer admin through messaging center. So if you are an admin and, if you are working with an admin, make sure that they are keeping an eye out on the messaging center, because they will be the first ones to know if there is going to be any kind of new feature release. The other thing that I want to, put a highlight on, spotlight on, is we just went public preview the Mac OS client support. So if you are using a Mac OS client, please try that out and provide us feedback. It is very exciting because it's been something that customers have been asking for. So this is just another example of the fact that we are listening to you, and we are cranking out features that you specifically asked for.
Here, it's really an example of Windows 365 being the agnostic kind of Windows device, separate from like the endpoint device that you use. So you can use a Mac, Android, iOS and such, and then macOS is the first one to use as well, the Teams optimization, just like you do for Windows as well. So that's amazing. So one question that just comes in here that I would like to ask in a follow-up, and then we park and go to the next topic here, is the Teams optimizations, are they like automatically enabled in a cloud PC? Like if I spin up a cloud PC, does it mean that I get the Teams optimizations out of the box?
Yes, we do have it as part of the, as long as you're using the gallery image to set up your cloud PC. Yes, it will be part of your cloud PC setup. There might be one or two tweaks that you might have to do to get the updates, but at least out of the box, you should be having the team optimization built in.
Okay, so that's great. It really sort of puts like our product in like where we want to be, in the position of, hey, you don't have to like configure some registry keys and such before you can get up to speed. It's all there, and you can be like productive in just a matter of 5 to 10 minutes after provisioning. Right. And this is a good example of that too. Yeah. So let's move a little bit to a different topic. You mentioned feedback, how people can provide feedback. I know people on this team are working on, hey, how can people send feedback, and are working on a feedback portal. So who wants to explain a little bit about that and give sort of a rundown on what we are working on behind the scenes? Alina, go ahead.
So yeah, as you mentioned, customer feedback is very important to us. So we are working on making it as easy as possible for our customers to submit the feedback. So you'll be able to submit feedback directly from the end user portal and even within the web app, right as you're using your cloud PC. And the experience will be much like the Office apps, where you'll also be able to add a screenshot and contact an email address if you choose to do so. There are other various ways we can also get feedback through tech community. I don't know, Sam, you want to go over that?
Sure. Thanks, Alina. Yeah, there are various ways in which our enterprise customers provide feedback to our product teams, whether it's through their account teams, through their CSAM, or any number of Microsoft contacts they may be working with today. They also have the ability to file a design change request through their support cases, or by leveraging the tech community that Alina alluded to, which is at aka.ms/W365feedback. Each of these are all effective methods for providing feedback to us. However, they all have different paths to reaching the product teams, and the ability to track feedback becomes a little more difficult. So we are working to improve that feedback experience for our customers by providing the same experience across our products and by bringing the feedback into one central place on the Microsoft side. Alina did talk a little bit about the end product feedback, but in addition to this, we will be moving the tech community to a new location at feedbackportal.microsoft.com and redirecting the aka.ms/w365 feedback to a new address. This will allow our customers to track their submitted end product feedback through a section on the feedback portal called My Feedback, as well as submit community feedback in the same place. This will allow the Microsoft PMs to view and interact with the feedback within the feedback portal or directly with you as needed, providing updates or responses to your feedback.
Yeah, that's great, and we really need that too, right? Like we are participating events, community events, just like Microsoft events and other like partner events too, to connect with customers and IT admins and such. But this is really an easier way to get more feedback in, and we really encourage our customers, our partners as well, to file some feedback so we can stay ahead of like the innovation, as well as to confirm that we are on track and prioritize it in a way that things ship faster. So you know that you sort of influence our roadmap partly as well. And we know exactly that once we ship it with a lot of demand as well in markets. So please do that. Great work. And I'm really excited about seeing that shipping in our own like products and coming to life pretty soon. So talking about great stuff, exciting stuff, and roadmap stuff, another question comes in here. Does Windows 365 support nested virtualization? And I can take that one myself. So nested virtualization is something that can be used to run Linux, Windows subsystem for Linux, as well as for Android, and Docker and any other specific nested virtualization app on top of a cloud PC. So we have been working hard over the last 2 to 3 months to get official support from the WSL team for those specific products, as well as nested virtualization support in Windows 365, and then specifically to start with the 8 vCPU license. So we are almost close to releasing and shipping this. So I cannot say an exact date, but it's pretty close to see that shipping inside our 8 vCPU license. So please stay tuned, check our roadmap page. And as I said, very soon you will see that lighting up, and you can use it as part of your cloud PC. So you can run a Linux terminal from like a Mac OS device, or as well an Android, of course, as well Windows or an iPhone. So very flexible to do your developer-specific work on any device. So I think it's awesome. We shared some preliminary demos on social media with our customers, and we had great interaction there and positive feedback. So I'm really looking forward to see that landing in market. Is there anybody that wants to chime into that or has some comments?
Absolutely. Nested Virt has been super popular on a local PC. And the fact that we are living up to our vision of providing your PC in the cloud, that you could do anything, and bringing this in is a big deal for us, and super excited that this is happening. You all developers out there, you can go crazy now.
Yeah, we really want to make more and more specific scenarios for specific personas available on a cloud PC. And developer scenarios is one of them, of course. But another question that just comes in here is, what about like engineering designers and such, like GPU specific scenarios? What are you guys doing for that? So maybe that's a good one for you as well, Sandeep, to just chime into.
Absolutely. So nowadays, there is no local device that ships without a GPU, be it integrated or discrete. So the fact that we don't have GPU today in cloud PC is something that keeps us up at night. And therefore, we are trying our best to make sure we can move fast, bring it, and yet keep it affordable for each of the users to use their GPU-backed VMs in the cloud. So Christian has been, burning the midnight oil, trying to do a lot of these things happen at the same time. So we are very, gotta keep this secret. Um, Become an MVP. You'll know more. So we have been working on this. This should be coming soon. We will update the roadmap to show when it is coming in all pretty soon. Once we are pretty confident, once we are happy with the performance and all that we are able to bring to the local PC, to the cloud PC, we will be able to feel more confident about bringing this to you, so that you can use it just like your local PC in the cloud.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm very excited about seeing some of those new licenses popping up in the future to address those specific personas as well. And think about developer scenarios as well. Like, hey, I'm developing a game and I want to use a cloud PC because I'm not physically working at the office anymore, and I want to be sort of agnostic from being at the office and at home, and use the same kind of graphical resources for creating a game or doing something else, like developing some specific like engineering drawing or something in AutoCAD or Revit. So yeah, as I said, I'm excited about it. So please stay tuned for that roadmap item as well, that will pop up pretty shortly there. So let's move along here and see what kind of questions will come in, and change topic a little bit to BCDR, which is your kind of territory, Doug. So one of the things we recently shipped is point-in-time restore, and a couple of questions are coming in here, like around like what is kind of the days you can come back, like what's the maximum time you can come or go back in time. What are the things to keep in mind of that? What can IT admins configure and such to trim that timeline and such as well? Can you elaborate a little bit on that and explain a little bit the behind the scenes explanation of point-in-time restore as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited to bring this to market. It's in preview right now, and we will be adding a little bit of functionality through preview to GA that we expect in the next few months. So in terms of the specific question, how far back can I look? We wanted to address a few use cases. We wanted to address both the use case of, I just made a mistake, and I know that I made a mistake, and it was pretty recent, back to maybe I had a weekend and I made a mistake last Friday. So we have what we call short-term restore points. There are 10 of these, and those are configurable in the enterprise product. They can be between 4 hours and 24 hours per restore point. So basically you can go back between 40 hours and 10 days with those 10 short-term restore points. With our business product, it's 12 hours. Every 12 hours we'll take a restore point. Then there's another use case, which is maybe around malware, ransomware, or other long-term areas where I didn't even know there was a problem until much later into the process. And in those cases, we automatically keep a weekly restore point for 4 weeks. So you can go back up to 28 days automatically. And just in terms of bringing it to market, when we brought it to preview a couple weeks ago, we had already been taking snapshots for every single cloud PC that existed. So when we first brought it to market, everybody had history. 2 weeks if your cloud PC had been around that long, and nothing to do, it's there. Another question that comes up a lot is in terms of price. Is there any cost to this? And the answer is no. That's included in the cloud PC solution. So everybody has this redundancy and resiliency, and it just really excited to bring it to market. BCDR is going to be an ongoing investment. As is connectivity. Making sure everyone has an absolutely rock solid experience is something, it's really our P0. It's, something that we'll continue to invest heavily in. And I'm not sure if anyone else wants to take a stab at something. Sorry, go ahead, Christian.
Oh yeah, I see a nice picture on the background there. I'm not sure how old you are, but what's that all about? WordPerfect?
Yeah, I started my career at WordPerfect. I won't tell you how old I am, but I will say that I started at WordPerfect on May 5th in 1988. and worked there for the first 9 years of my career. Did a lot of jobs there, and it was a fantastic way to start a career. And in fact, I have a lot of friends that worked at WordPerfect and are now at Microsoft as well.
And that's awesome. And you also work for FS Logics, right? We both were working for that company. So
yeah, you and I and Randy Cook, one of the architects, PM architects in Windows 365, all came over with the FS Logics acquisition, and it's been an amazing journey. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the great thing is that we are now able to solve challenges on a larger scale in our product that can deliver it from end to end as a SaaS offering. And I think that's just great doing that. So yeah, it's amazing team to be part of. So Pavitra, did you have something to raise up as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, and we've been doing all these, improvements, and what about the streaming sites? Sandeep, do you have anything to share about multimedia redirection that you've been working on?
Oh yeah, totally forgot about that. Yes, so keeping the promise of like local PC experiences from cloud PC, uh, websites are becoming more and more popular. So multimedia redirection is one of those features that where the content is taken from the VM and streamed directly to the endpoint, and then of course decoded directly instead of being decoded and re-encoded on the VM side. Watch Christian's Windows in the Cloud session with me, where we go more in detail about that. But right now we're building that is built directly into Cloud PC. One of the things we're doing is the image is optimized so that when everybody gets their Cloud PC, some of these optimizations like Teams and multimedia redirection are all built in. So we recently updated the bits there, and more websites are included. So if you please look at the documentation, if there are websites that you think are not included or that don't work, please send feedback to us, and we will work on it. Again, we are working very closely with the Sigma team. Phenomenal group of people there. They are responsible for all of media that's running on Windows. So the fact that they're helping us is again a phenomenal thing for us, that we are able to work together to bring the same experience from the cloud. So please take a look at that, and let us know if there are certain websites that don't work. We do have experimental feature that's a checkbox that allows you to turn on multimedia redirection for all websites. And that's one way where if you have any internal website that hosts media, videos, live streaming, whatever, then if it doesn't work, let us know. If it works, let us know as well.
So this is all agnostic from a local or in the cloud GPU or something, right? Like this is all based on the CPU rendered back to the endpoint. Can you tell a little bit more about that, how that works?
Absolutely. So generally what happens is any video that people are watching, the user is watching, would be decoded on the cloud PC, and then re-encoded using real-time protocol, real-time codecs, so that RDP can push it over to the endpoint. So that is really not optimized, because the streaming, like for example this YouTube stream or any of the videos that you watch, are encoded with multi-pass encoder. So it is really small, whereas real-time encoders are 5 to 10 times the size, depending on how many pixels are moving and all that. So what happens there is it slows down the whole experience, and then you start seeing audio video lag or jitters, or if you're on lossy network, or if you where packet drops are happening and all that, then it gets even smaller, even slower, because TCP requires acknowledgement packets and all that, right? So the worse is the network, the worse is the experience, and the more multimedia redirection helps improve the experience, because we don't decode on the VM side. We just take the encoded stream, send it down, and decode on the local side. So there's no audio video lag. Everything is very seamless, and the bits that are being sent are much smaller. So if you're in an airport, or if you're using a hotspot, it works pretty well as a result of that.
Yeah, that's amazing, and really as well shows the capabilities we have with delivering Windows from in the cloud while not being really dependent on the resources in the cloud. So you can still, for like the vast majority of work, which is dependent on potentially a GPU, render it to your local endpoint and still use some of those CPU and GPU cycles you have locally while not investing in a GPU inside a cloud PC, for example. So I think great news, because that creates greater flexibility and where our customer wants to be, how much like money they want to invest in a solution like Windows 365, and pick what is best for their specific scenario. Like education, for example, they do a lot of training videos inside a cloud PC, and then this solution would really help playing those videos for learning, doing training, and things like that.
Yeah.
So talking about end user experience and optimizations and latency and UDP, TCP, we are doing lots of great stuff there too. If I'm not mistaken, pretty close to something we will announce or ship to the outside world. And we already did some teasers on social media, which is internally called X1, but publicly TBD. But Doug, can you give a quick run over what we are building there?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to jump in when Pavithra and Sandeep started talking about teams and multimedia. So overall, as Sandeep mentioned, in terms of the underlying protocols and mechanisms for RDP connection, currently we use TCP as our primary mechanism to connect an RDP session. And a lot of work is going into accelerating and optimizing that connection using UDP protocols and additional infrastructure that Microsoft has because of the work with Teams and other properties that need to accelerate communication across the internet. So we're lucky in our organization to be able to take advantage of some of those and start to accelerate with different protocols. Don't know exact timing. Or actually, maybe I should say we're not releasing exact timing, but this is months, not years away, to where the entire session, in addition to unique teams and multimedia optimizations, the entire session is going to be optimized in the next few months in different ways. So, and as he mentioned, especially useful in environments with lossy networks and latency and those types of things. Sandeep is smiling because his network is like 10 times faster than mine. So I'm really looking forward to this feature to help in my case specifically. Really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm smiling because we have this fun wager going on, or a bet going on, who has the shortest latency, and let's see. The shortest we have seen so far is 7 milliseconds. Doug, you got to beat that. You have what now? Now you have a hotspot. You have called AT&T or T-Mobile. Everybody, I guess, now to make sure you're able to beat that number.
No, I've still got 2 Campbell soup cans on the end of a string.
Yeah, put it, fiber optics in between those 2 cans, right?
Yep, fiber optic and pull it tight.
Pull it tight. All right, and everybody watching this, please try this. We already have it in private preview, and we'll have it in public preview soon, and you can try it out. And if you have similar setups already on premises and you're looking for something to try, what would be the latency and all that from the cloud, this is a good opportunity. Share what your network latencies and round trip times and the other parameters that you think are important to you, so that we can give it for take it for a spin and see if we can match those as close as possible, while providing a much lighter weight, easier experience from the cloud with Cloud PC.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really like this kind of optimizations. It's like really like good enough is not good enough. It needs to be perfect. And I think this is a great example of that. Like the network could be okay, good enough, but with this, you optimize it and make it perfect for any kind of scenario where you are a little bit further away from the data center when you live in Utah, for example, and have a less good connection as when you live in the Redmond area. But that doesn't matter. We have a fix for that, so that's good. So I heard just on the side that we just released some new blog posts. So I want to go a little bit back to the point-in-time restore feature. So we can point in a lower third. We just released a blog article that points all the steps, technical steps you need to know to implement and use the point-in-time restore feature. So if you want to do a follow-up on that or have some more questions, we worked with somebody that is working for Microsoft as well. I think, Doug, you collaborated on this blog post as well, where you can dive a little bit deeper into the specifics. Can you give a little bit of an explanation what people can learn in that blog?
Yeah, absolutely. So the blog covers how to use it, how to configure it. It's super straightforward. That's the thing, is we actually made point-in-time restore very straightforward. So the blog post is somewhat about the administrative experience in how to configure it. But don't be intimidated. We wanted to take BCDR and make it super simple. So yeah, sorry. As you can tell, I'm really excited about the topic because it's not 10,000 steps in order to get a rock solid experience. It's like 3 steps. And so take a look at the blog post. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Super fast read.
Yeah, when I hear this, I always sort of think about 10 years back in time when people were still maintaining Exchange servers and mailbox databases and such. And all of a sudden there was Exchange Online and Office 365 that made it possible, well, just flipping a switch, and you had all of a sudden thousands of mailboxes that you could just auto-discover in your Outlook client and such. Very easy, very disruptive as well at that time. And I think you need to reflect that moment sort of as well on where we are with Windows 365 and the relationship to Windows on a physical PC and all the other virtualization technologies out there. So great call out. That's our mission, to be simple, easy, and make it available for basically everybody that can configure a PC from like Microsoft Endpoint Manager and such, or even easier than that with the business product today as well. So I heard another blog is published today as well. So we just pointed in the lower third. So there's a blog published by myself as well. Pretty obvious maybe that I know about that, which points out the kind of investments we did to improve the end user experience for the remote desktop client for Windows, which we use currently to connect to your cloud PC environment with like Teams optimizations and other things we just mentioned during our chat. So if you go to that link that you just saw in the lower third, you see all the steps you can do to optimize the client. So you can push the client via Microsoft Endpoint Manager to the endpoint. So that's one thing you can do as an application delivery policy you can configure in MAM. But something we shipped recently in a preview is auto discovery inside the client, meaning that if your endpoint is MAM managed, that the client automatically discovers your cloud PCs. So you don't have to click on subscribe, entering your Azure AD credentials and do all that like work manually. It's just there, and you can do sort of a single sign-on experience inside your cloud PC out of the box. So it's pretty amazing. And on top of that, you can configure kiosk mode. So if you want to create a purpose-built device, like sort of a thin client-like device, so lightweight, only have the client showing up full screen, you can do that too via Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So you have all the optimizations of Teams and Microsoft 365 in there, as well as the out-of-the-box first run experience for the end user, all very seamlessly there. So take a look. It's all like explained there. It's very straightforward too. I think it's just a good timing to have that blog ready during this AMA. So, and that sort of segues into, I just call out Microsoft 365, and we already talked about Teams and optimizations we do there. So what are we doing around other Microsoft 365 apps, like, for example, OneDrive, very popular product, how to use it on your physical PC, cloud PC, your Mac, different devices, mobile device to share your data across different companies and in the same company. So what are we doing with OneDrive inside the cloud PC, Alina? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, Windows 365 is the best expressions of Microsoft 365 services. So when you log into your cloud PC, you can automatically be signed into your OneDrive, and your files are there and ready to use with almost no setup needed. So as long as you're signed into your account, your files will be available from both your local PC and your cloud PC within Microsoft 365.
Yeah, that's great. And it's across platforms as well, right? Like you can use OneDrive known folder move on Mac right now, which we just released, and we use it out of the box in Cloud PC as well, right? So you have basically your data everywhere. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. And I know, Doc, you drove some of that work together with me back in the days as well. So it's great to see that all coming to life and see that synergy between all the other Microsoft 365 products that work seamlessly out of the box. So OneDrive is one example, Teams, we have Edge as well. So Edge, maybe you can tell a little bit about Edge, like how's Edge working out of the box? So Lena, and I can do it, of course, too. So do you want to take it a rundown, Lena? Or?
Sandeep, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Stop.
I'm going to just tell what Elena and Pavitra are already doing. So I just tease it a little bit and let Pavitra and Elena answer some of these. We keep going back to a couple of things with respect to Edge. One is Windows 365 from Edge. So you're using a web client, and Pavitra has been working on some pretty phenomenal stuff there. Wow, so many secrets to hide. The other thing is, of course, Edge inside Cloud PC. A lot of things that can be done. One example is multimedia redirection, but there are a bunch of other things that's happening. So, Pavitra, do you want to talk a little bit about Windows 365 using Edge? Connecting from Edge.
Yeah, I mean, there are two parts to this, as Sandeep mentioned, right? One is using the web client. And we have been having the web client out there in preview for a long time. And just now we have added we will be adding the feedback feature that Elena and Sam talked about earlier. But apart from that, we are also working on other highly asked features from the customers. I can't provide you all the details until it's live, but keep an eye out on that roadmap. The other thing that we added to the the web client itself was the error and troubleshooting idea. So when you have a problem now, you call customer support, and then they're going to ask you questions. Hey, what is happening? Provide me logs, and there is no way for you to obtain those logs. So we have added that capability. It should be soon live for you to obtain those logs, provide it to your own customer admin, or provide it directly to Microsoft CSS support. So those are some improvements that we have made so that it's more usable. The other part that Sandeep was talking about was within Windows 365, when you launch Edge and you're using it on certain sites, how do we improve the performance? So we are exploring, many options so that we can improve performance on streaming sites like YouTube, etc. Apart from MMR, and we are at a point where we know exactly what we need to do. We can't talk about it, but we are working with the Edge team directly to understand and to actually implement these improvements. It's down the road, but we have started the work. So hopefully in another couple of months, you will be able to, get this on your hands and try it out and provide us feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Doug, you had something as well, right?
Yeah, I was going to say there's a gap. So I'm going to go back to the OneDrive conversation just briefly because it's really exciting in terms of our overall business continuity story. Because OneDrive and Windows 365 are both in the Azure world, in the Azure fabric, OneDrive is essentially a native drive. If you think about it, it's the latency to OneDrive is practically nothing. And so having the OneDrive as an integrated part of the Windows 365 story is really exciting. You talked about known folder move and how that really brings the cloud PC as your physical PC in the cloud, and using OneDrive, known folder move, and having the latency and experience be so fast. We talk about our FS Logics days when we were dealing primarily with on-site virtual desktop implementations, and just a world of difference to be able to think of your OneDrive as basically latency-free storage.
Yeah, going back a little bit to the Edge topic here. So this is all great, right? Like clicking on a file and it's straight there. You don't have to cache it really because the download speed is just the same as on your local disk. But going back to the Edge case here, there are a couple of questions on what are we doing for like single sign-on and Edge and such. Like Alina, can you share a little bit about that? What we are doing to improve the experience for using Edge and Windows 365?
Yeah, so we are working with the Edge team to provide a seamless experience in Cloud PC. For example, we have SSO for Edge for Business, and this should allow users to see their Office applications right when they log on. And one of my favorite things also, we all have the favorites bars at the top. So if you're signed in to your account right away in Cloud PC, you'll see your favorites at the top, and it'll be just like using your local PC. Everything will be there, right there.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really like that. And that's not where we stop, right? There are more things to come, but we of course cannot share everything here, as Sandeep always was mentioning. So we want to, but we can't. So yeah, great things are coming because Edge is a Microsoft product, and we really want to merge all those experiences in the Microsoft 365 apps, and that's single sign-on, but it could be different things as well that we cannot talk about. But things are like configured out of the box with Edge, optimizations like sleeping tabs that like downgrades the amount of RAM being used for websites if you don't use them after like 5 to 10 minutes. All those things are automatically enabled just to optimize the experience inside the Cloud PC for the use of Edge and their consumption as well. So you have more resources left to do just productivity, production work, like opening an application and such. So going a little bit like from topic to topic here and talk about some other questions that just came in. So a question that came in is, will users be able in the future to assign multiple cloud PCs to the same user of the same size? So who wants to explain a little bit about that? So I can take that one myself. So we are working on a solution for making it possible to assign the same license. So for example, you have Windows 10, 2-core, 8 gig of RAM, and Windows 11, 2-core, 8 gig of RAM as well. And you want to have them at the same spec because you want to do some comparison work. So currently that's possible, but only with a mix of business and enterprise licenses. And we are working behind the scenes to make it possible for enterprise together in the same enterprise product with the same license as well. So another feedback item. So I'm sure, Sam, you're tracking that all that we received, which we take seriously and ship in the product pretty soon.
So Christian, one other thing around that is that always brings up the question of conflict resolution for our provisioning profiles and user settings. And so, absolutely, that's something that's being looked at in context of this as well as, how to have multiple provisioning profiles, multiple user settings for different users.
Yeah, it's technically it's not always easy, but therefore we are a team to make things look easy while they are technically difficult, right? And this is one of those examples that wasn't that easy, but we didn't stop, and we will make it easy in the near term future. And there's so much to like if you look at like our service, there's so much automation in place of things that previously has been done manually, and just a product that is in a better shape, that does things out of the box automatically, that you don't see, but it's kind of the knowledge we all carry in this team and the other teams as part of Windows 365 to, yeah, as I said in the beginning, proactively solve challenges for customers that use virtualization today or never use virtualization because it was too complex, too costly, and things like that. So all out of the box, sort of integrated in a SaaS solution, which is a great analogy that you just shared that sort of reflects that. So let's go a little bit more in some other side topics here, and I want to go back to you, Pravitra. Like you mentioned the web client, we did some improvements there. Can you share a little bit about like the preview that's currently ongoing and how people can use that and have that better experience as well with the information worker portal, the web client? Yeah.
I was on mute, just like your teacher said, Christian. So when you do log into the Information Worker Portal, or IWP as we call it, fondly within our team, because it's too long, there is a place for you to, log into your cloud PC using the browser. We have our own, Windows 365 web client. So take a look at it, use it, provide feedback with the new feature that we have got on feedback. We are constantly adding more and more features to the web client so that, we are closer, we're basically like, closing the gap between the feature on the native client and the web client. It will take a while, but then we are getting there. We started the journey. As I mentioned earlier, we have the, error log creation, for you to support any of your support calls with error logs. And then we will be having more, features to access your local files or your remote files. And we will be continuing to add new features because this is our own client, and we want to make sure that you're using it. We are cherry picking features that Windows 365 customers specifically ask for. So if you have any special features that you want to see on the web client, please use the feedback portal or the tech community site to provide this information.
Yeah, that's awesome. And please participate in that preview, because we are still looking for feedback to make sure that once we ship it in GA, it's as stable as it can be. So flip the switch on the right corner, and you will see it in your environment. So making another switch real quick to some of the exciting stuff that is happening in the field. And Sam, you're responsible for the feedback portal and the integration in our product, as you just explained. And yeah, I'm really curious, like, how is that relationship to being so passionate about the feedback portal, as well as your previous or current role still being a CSAM, and how does your experience is, or how is your sort of impression in the field, how people react to Windows 365 while talking with customers?
Yeah, so as a customer success account manager, I work very closely with a number of enterprise customers, mostly right now in the healthcare organization. It's the adoption of Windows 365 is increasing significantly, and the feedback that we've gotten has been extremely positive. It's always important, from the side that I work on every day is, making sure that we absolutely listen to our customers, whether it be through that direct interaction that I talked about earlier, or through, our other listening mechanisms, which is, the in-product feedback or NPS surveys, or through now the feedback portal that will be coming online. I mean, I think we're starting to see some more transition from, our normal, VDI type environments to more of this Windows 365 SaaS solutions in the healthcare industry, and that it's been really amazing to see.
And that's awesome to see. And I heard as well that you have been doing a lot of Azure Virtual Desktop and now sort of transferred and seeing all that excitement around Windows 365 right now in the field. And we see a question coming in just as well about like, what about Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365? What should I pick and such kind of questions. So Sandeep, do you want to give a quick explanation on that?
Absolutely. Both the teams, we work so closely with each other that we forget that they are two separate products. Windows 365 is completely built on top of Azure Virtual Desktop. And the way we see Windows 365 as bringing your local PC from the cloud. So the cloud PC, so it's basically introducing a brand new category called cloud PC, where the user has all the power, just like local PC. You could go to a store, buy a PC, use it just like that. Swipe your card, get your cloud PC, making it super simple. The story there really is about simplicity. There is a lot of features like multimedia redirection, teams, and all those things are exactly the same. So we are building it for the user in mind. And yes, there are slightly different use cases from the point of view of what the customers really need. There are many SMBs and very small businesses out there who do not have IT, and Windows 365 really makes it simple for them to like I said, swipe a card, get a few cloud PCs, and be able to use it. Even for enterprises, a lot of IT really wants to manage everything from Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and Windows 365 being, built on top of MEM makes it super easy for the IT to be able to manage the cloud PCs just like local PCs. So it's not really two products. We see it more like a platform on which Windows 365 is built, and we want to provide as much of similar features as possible. But the differentiation really comes in the way of, okay, can we make it more simple? And for Azure Virtual Desktop, it'll be more in terms of how to give more flexibility to IT to do more, whatever they want to do. So it is slightly different use cases from the IT point of view, but from end users point of view, both of us are going towards the same direction, which is give what the end user really wants. There are some other features that we are talking about making it super simple, like BCDR, right? It's a one-click thing, and the user has to, recover. That's a good one. Where when you talk about simplicity, when there is no IT, or even if there's IT, the IT may or may not have virtualization experience. So making it easy for the user to self-serve is another thing that is the differentiating factor, if you may call it that way. But it's mainly how do we make it easy, right? At the end of the day, am I as a user reducing the workload on the IT or on the business or on the customer, on my employer, to do things for me, which I could do it with my local PC? So a lot of these things, you'll see more and more of these things coming in. We have resize, where you could go from one size via cloud PC to another size. A lot of these things is about ease and simplicity and all that. Yeah, simplicity and making sure your cloud PCs looks and feels exactly like local PC.
Talking about like simplicity and all the explanation work you just called out here, this is all related to businesses, right? So another question that just came in is, what are we doing potentially for consumers, right? Like do we have any plans for that? Simplicity is very important there too. So can you explain a little bit on the vision there?
If you want to achieve the eventual goal, is anybody in the world, even my dad and my mom, could buy PCs for cloud PCs for themselves. So do we want to bring it to consumers? Absolutely. Do we have a lot of work to be done? Oh yes. Everybody, I can see everybody's mind spinning like, oh yeah, we have to do all those things, let's go do it. Yes. Become an MVP. I'll keep saying that because we have got tons of content coming in, and MVP Summit is next week, right, Christian?
It is, and you can still sign up for sessions if you are an MVP. So please do.
Yeah, we have started. Christian has worked very closely with the team to start this MVP work stream. So please join. We have tons of NDA content that we'll be showing and talking about. But since this is public, there are things that we are doing. Our goal is to, just like local PC. When I keep saying local PC, you can imagine, okay, today I can do this with my local PC. Can I do that with cloud PC? The answer is absolutely. That's what our goal is. We have a lot of work to do. We are working with multiple teams, identity, Azure Virtual Desktop, much of Endpoint Manager, Edge, M365, you name it. We are pretty much working with every single team out there within Microsoft to make sure that we are able to bring like local PC experience to your cloud PC.
Here, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to give my mother a cloud PC that I can say, hey, this is what we guys built at Microsoft. Now we're here. And just a great story to share here too is the moment when I moved to the Windows 365 engineering team was like more than like 8 months before the actual GA release. So I wasn't able to really share what I was building to my family. But in the past, I've been part of different other products like Azure Virtual Desktop as well, and other virtualization solutions that are represented as a community professional. And my family that never really knew what I was doing. I said something with computers and then running in the cloud on another data center. And the moment Windows 365 shipped in the market, they saw, hey, that's where you're working on, right? Like I was, yeah, that's what I'm working on. So it really shows the kind of visibility and as well the interest in market the consumer has as well as the business has on making Windows agnostic from the endpoint and innovate and maybe go beyond even what Exchange did like 10 years ago. So it's just great energy. And keep up doing that, people that are attending this session as well. So another question real quick that is coming in here. Hey, will you implement soon support for other regions like Switzerland, Middle East, Norway potentially as well? So I can take that one too. So we are actively working on those specific regions that I just called out. To add a region, it's not like, hey, just click on a button and the region is there. There are more components in there to make that possible. So for example, we need to have the code ready in that region and other specifics around like the capacity and such. So we are actively working on that right now. So once we have that all in place, we will ship that and we will announce it on the same roadmap page. So ak.ms/W365 roadmap, and you can find the information over there as well. So another question that just comes in hot here, can you control RDP properties like for security reasons, like clipboard, like audio redirection, microphone redirection, all those things? Are those things supported? And is it different from any platform we use? Pavitra, can you explain a little bit about the web portal experience and maybe the other clients we use as well?
Yeah, with the RDP redirection, you are able to use your microphone. You are able to, I wouldn't say we can use everything with especially the web portal, but you can control whether you can, copy paste or not, for sure. I know we have had some feedback on unidirectional, clipboard settings. We don't support that. So it's either you are disallowed to copy paste from local to remote, as well as remote to the local, or you're allowed to do so. But we are exploring other options for RDP redirections. There is a pretty big gap between native clients and web portal for all the redirections that we support, but we're trying to close the gap as much as possible. Currently, we definitely do support the clipboard redirection as well as the microphone redirection.
Awesome. And one more thing before we close off, you can configure all those policies as well in Microsoft Endpoint Manager to do it on a larger scale too. So with that, I would like to close off. So thank you all, guys, to join me today. It was really fun to have you here, just on a separate kind of note. So I really look forward to get you back. And I would like to thank you as well for attending again, or maybe as a new guest. And I hope to see you back at the next AMA. So enjoy your day, and thank you for watching.